All right, hello and welcome to the very first episode of Velen's Chosen. We are the Exiled Ones, and we're ready to buff your game. Joining me today is Evemartyn.
Hi.
Eve, say hello.
Hi, everybody.
Eve is our free-to-play / low-budget extraordinaire for our show. And we also have Andrew. Andrew, I actually forgot your last name, just mental lapse. What's your last name?
Brown. Just like the color.
Andrew Brown.
Easy.
Yeah, Andrew Brown is also joining us today. Andrew, what would you say your specialty is for our show?
Dropping hoggers and getting them removed immediately.
And that's good. That's good. And I'm
really
NotRobMay, and I'll be your main host today, kind of administrating the discussion, and I would be what you would call your wallet warrior tester. I'll go with that.
Nice.
So I really like the Wallet Warrior a lot, and then now there's developing a lot more of wallet type classes where you basically pay a lot of money and get a lot of legendaries and get going. All right, so before we get going, we have a couple introductory things to do because this is our very first episode. We would like to introduce you to what you're about to listen to for the extended version of the entirety of the shows. So a couple things that we had discussed and why we wanted to make this podcast was because we felt like there wasn't enough voice of players within the 25 to rank 5 bracket of play to help you learn the meta of where you're at. The meta is much more expansive for those individual 5, I guess those ranks between 25 and 5, because each 5 ranks is almost a whole nother meta. So, Eve, what was some other things that we had wanted to make sure that we covered for our podcast?
Making decks on a budget for people who don't have all the cards, and trying to help players put cards into decks to replace ones that they don't have yet. And then as your card collection gets bigger, letting you know which ones are really important to get in as soon as you get them.
That's excellent. Yeah. Andrew, can you think of anything else that we want to make sure that we highlight for each episode?
I mean, just like the card Velen's Chosen is going to buff your minions, we're just trying to help you buff your game. So I find that for me, that happens best through conversation, hearing what other people are facing on the ladder, how they're countering what's out there, and the things that they're learning through the game. So we just hope to be a part of that conversation for you, and all together we can just keep on improving, and eventually we're all going to hit legend, right, guys?
Yeah.
I'm pushing for
I
it this
would like
month,
that.
but we'll see. Yeah. So, the basic synopsis for the podcast is we want to get you from lowly squire status to Varian Rin within a few shows.
That's
so
right.
we're not really going to get you there in a couple episodes. We realize that. We also don't want to let you know that everybody can hit legend, because that's just not true. But I think that buffing your game at one episode, if we can teach you one thing that gets you one extra rank or end you the season 1 to 2 stars longer than you did the last season, that's what our goal is to help those players that feel like they're unable to do that with a free account and or a low budget account, or people like me that don't really care and spend money on it because I want to, but I'm still stuck because of the time constraints and strategy. So we want to make sure that we can do our best to push the legend and challenge each other, but as well, this podcast can really push us over the edge and give you guys some discussion benefits. So we're going to introduce ourselves a little bit now. Andrew, why don't you kind of give us a quick synopsis of who you are and some of your background?
Yeah, so in regards to gaming, and specifically Blizzard games, I was pretty much raised on Blizzard games. My dad was one of those few people who was crazy enough to get a Mac really early on before they were cool. And about the only quality video games back then were the very original Blizzard games, Diablo, StarCraft, Warcraft, and my dad loved those games. So we got those, and I played those. I also got into card games when I was younger, especially Pokemon. I played a little bit of Magic, but I always loved CCGs back then, and that was really good. It wasn't until Nax Rammus's release actually that I heard about Hearthstone, and I don't know how I missed it, but It had been a long time since I had played card games, and so it was like, definitely time to get in. And the free to play model was definitely attractive. You got nothing to lose. So jumped into that and have just loved it ever since. Um, as far as Blizzard games, I also played some World of Warcraft back in the day, but I'm definitely primarily Hearthstone now. Although I did jump into Heroes to get that card back, and that game's a lot of fun too. I just don't have enough time to really get into that. So one of the big things I love about Hearthstone is that it's so easy to jump in and out of. So even if I've just got 10 minutes, I can jump in, play a quick game, jump out. Or if I've got a longer chunk of day, I can really grind the ladder, go through an arena run, something like that. I'm a big fan of Arena just because that's a big, changing playing field. So I like the newness of it and the freshness of it every time you play. On the ladder, my max rank has been 3.
Wow.
I have
Well played.
now I've gotten to rank 3 different seasons. Each time, immediately I go back down to 5. So
Wow.
So it's always very short lived. But
do you hit it early on in the season, or mid season, or end season?
It's usually end season because all the really good players are still down at that rank 15 to 20 at the beginning. So it's usually near the end that I get up there, and but it's always short lived. So I'm hoping I can press through that one day, but definitely have experienced the wall of the ladder every single month. So we'll talk more about that.
That crazy wall when you hit 5.
Yep.
From what I've heard,
it's disastrous.
What is like 3 things that you can nerd out over? I guess you kind of covered some of those with Blizzard games, but like, what's your general hobbies outside of Hearthstone?
Yeah, I'm a pretty big musician. Also, I played saxophone all through high school and college. Taught myself drums and guitar, so I really like doing that, finding new bands, all that kind of stuff. What else? I've got my few TV shows, just like we all do. I'm a huge fan of The Office and Parks and Rec and stuff like that.
Very good.
I'm psyched about Heroes coming back at the end of the month. I don't know if you guys.
Oh,
have
me
seen
too.
That, so that's going to be a big deal. But,
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Do you have a favorite card art and then favorite card to play?
Favorite card art is probably the Golden Ysera. Mainly because I'm a big fan of getting the golden cards when you have extra cards that come from it, and Ysera is just, you get a ton of different card art, so it's like 6 cards in one. But she just looks pretty awesome. And then to play, I'm probably gonna go with Gazlo actually. He is not viable at all, but he was the first legendary I got from a Goblins vs. Gnome pack, and I was like, I'm gonna make this work, and I never figured him out. But so much fun to play when you get those spare parts and you can get them out and you start getting other classes, mechs and stuff. It's just too much fun.
That's great. All right, Eve, your turn.
Oh no, how can I go up against that? That was pretty amazing. My background in Blizzard games is pretty much World of Warcraft. I played it a lot, to say the least. Yeah. Then I had kids and I had to give that up because it was like a full-time job. We were raiding like 4 times a week, and Blizzard games are just so addictive that you almost can't have a life outside of them.
Hearthstone.
Yeah, nice. Exactly. When Hearthstone came along, I was like, this is all full of Blizzard characters that I love and lore that I love, and I can drop it. I can pick it up and drop it. So this is kind of scratching that itch for me where I really missed all of the Blizzard lore and all the feeling behind all the World of Warcraft. And then I could have that back again without playing for 4 hours straight.
Sure.
I did play Magic the Gathering a lot in high school, and then picked it up again a couple years later. Me and my husband really like it, so we play it a lot.
Nice.
My ladder experience, the highest I've been is 6. And I got there with Face Hunter, so I don't really feel like I deserve it. I feel like...
I saw somebody just destroy a Moz with that deck today. Just this morning.
I'm glad that I was able to progress as far with it as I did, but it's just one of those decks that you don't feel good.
Makes you feel dirty.
Yes. It's almost like cheating getting that far with that deck.
Yeah.
But I do go back to it and Mech Mage whenever I really want to progress and make a hard push.
Man, I remember when you hit like rank 7 in like 2 days playing that Flamewaker Mage when that first came out. That was disgusting. I couldn't believe it. You're like, I'm getting the God draw for like 4 games in a row, and I just got 10 stars.
I just can't even but the people on the other side of the computer were probably not happy because they're all trying out the new TGT decks and having fun, and then just getting steamrolled by Fel Reaver.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Yeah, I felt mean.
So what are some other hobbies that you have outside of gaming, or maybe within gaming, that are just like other games?
Yeah, I play a lot of video games, like constantly, all the time, on all different kinds of consoles. I've got a PS4 and a Wii U and a PS Vita and a DS.
All the games.
And a GameCube. And yeah, like almost every console there is, I have. And I've actually been playing Diablo again after the new patch, which is super fun.
I heard it was awesome. The new patch was like getting a lot of players. They said it was basically like an expansion.
Yeah, like the new cube that they introduced, which can take legendary items and like let you keep the cool things about them on you after you don't have the legendary items anymore.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's like you can pull out the power from the legendary item and then keep it with you with the cube.
Sick.
My favorite card is Kel'Thuzad.
Yes.
Oh, snap.
I just love what he does. I put him into my mage deck because I was so low on legendaries. Didn't have Ragnaros, didn't have Sylvanas, didn't have so many things. And he can just outright win you games.
Yep.
If he's played correctly, Kel'Thuzad can literally turn the entire tide of the game. I feel like he sometimes can be more of a win more card, but I mean, if you get a little bit of an edge and drop Kel'Thuzad, it's like it's really tough to come back from that.
If I can get him behind a Sludge Belcher, then that's pretty much.
It's pretty much GG, yeah.
Yeah.
So, is that your favorite art and favorite one to play?
After Andrew was talking about the golden cards that give you more golden cards, I was like, oh yeah. So that priest card that
Confessor Peltris.
No, the spell that gives you 3 cards.
Oh,
Thought Steal?
Yeah. So if you have a golden Thought Steal, then you get 3 golden cards.
That's every golden card. I don't know if that's fair, but it is a pretty card all on its own too.
And then you get their cards. So they put down their regular card, and then you put down the golden version of their card that you stole.
Basically just said, I just got a better version of what you just threw down.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
Humiliating on every level.
Oh, it's so bad. I think I'm a mean Hearthstone player.
You play Face Hunter and you Thought Stealer.
I'm learning more about myself. Oh no.
Okay, so I'm going to go as fast as I can through my stuff because I've got a lot that I could talk about, but we don't want to make this about us. We want to make this about you. So my name's RobMay. I just got into the game right after alpha closed, and open beta was it was right before open beta. I got into closed beta, and my friend who was like hyping me about this game, he's like, you should apply to open beta. I was like, okay, I'll re-update my status. So like I went into BattleNet, re-updated, and went through and found that I could reapply basically by, unchecking the box and updating it and saving settings, and then going back in and checking the box to apply or opt in for beta testing. And because I've played lots of StarCraft 2, I even pre-ordered, I think, I bought Heart of the Storm digitally, and then that's the expansion for StarCraft 2. And then I also played WoW since vanilla. I played like the very tail end of vanilla, and then I basically leveled, I think, 3 different tunes during BC, and that was my Burning Crusade experience. Like, I got so upset at how boring Hunter was to raid at level 70, and my guild was having a lot of drama and breaking apart, and we were already really small, so I was like, well, this sucks. And then, so I re-rolled and went to a PvP server and leveled a Warlock, and that was quite the experience doing PvP as a lock. And then got really high and then realized that I didn't have anybody to play with. And so I couldn't find a good guild because everybody's PvP and I wanted to do PvE. So I re-rolled with a friend of mine from school and switched to Alliance and played a Draenei.
For the Alliance!
Shaman. Yeah, I was a big Alliance raider, like big time. So I played the tail end of BC. I got in Karazhan like about 10 times and then loved Karazhan. It's one of my favorite raids. And then there's another one that I did. I think it was like Sunwell Plateau. It's whatever the one was where Kel'Thas was, but I never got a chance to beat him. We always got stuck at that stupid Fell Reaver. That silence just wrecked us every time. But so anyways, I did that and then I played Lich King. And I played a crap ton of Lich King. That was the reign of the Shaman. And the elemental shamans were like just wrecking people on DPS. That's when Lava Burst was like the craziest spell in the game. You could like one-shot people that had.
It's a pretty
really
crazy
high
Hearthstone
saves.
card too.
Yeah. So needless to say, that shaman background led me into getting into the beta, and I love shaman. Like, it was my first class that I actually lucked out getting a lot of cards for, and I played a lot of mid-range / control shaman in the early days when that was like a contender against the control warrior. So I felt like a boss with having like a more of a budget rare deck than having a wallet warrior and being able to take them down. There's just something about Lightning Storm. Oh, so good. So yeah, that's my background for other games. Hearthstone I've been playing for a long time, but I've been in college and I was working really hard to graduate with very high honors. And then I went to grad school and that was even less or more of a time sink. So, and then I got married recently, so that was a lot of effort and stuff. And then I also worked at a summer camp for 4 different summers. So I basically didn't have internet access for like virtually 5 days a week. Dang. So my ladder experience has never really been stellar, but I think if you would have seen how many games I would have logged and getting to rank 12 as much as I could was pretty impressive. But my highest rank is 10, and I actually just achieved that a couple days ago. During last month before TGT released, and I was really close to rank 9, but I've been trying to set up 2 podcasts, so that's taken a little bit more time. Let's see, a bit more about myself. I am a photographer, a videographer, a marketer. So those are some things that I love doing. Love doing podcasting. Stuff that I nerd out over is lore. Love lore. I love mythologies from other places, so especially Egyptian myth, Chinese myth, Japanese myth, and Greek and Roman. And then I'm actually looking to go to Japan, so I watch a lot of anime and I love it.
I love anime too. Read manga.
My anime is great. Favorite anime is Death Note, by the way. Favorite card period is Chill Maw. Chill Maw is the best card in the game.
Already,
it's like an objective statement for me. I love Chill Maw. And then favorite card art. Man, I kind of have to think about this. I even wrote these questions down. Favorite card art. What are these? Well, okay, so I think it's a tie for me. Like, my favorite card art is actually the animated one for you know, like Chilmaw and for Edwin Van Cleef because of the lightning and the storms in the background with all that stuff. But like, if you want to say like non-golden art, oh man, I think some of the, I don't know. I don't remember.
It's okay. You can choose Lowly Squire. It's all right.
I don't know. I think I'll stick with my guns and stay those 2 for card art.
There you go.
But yeah, definitely favorite card to play is man, Anoyotron's way up there.
Do you really like what he says when he comes out? Because I find it annoying.
I think that the Anoyotron really shines when he plays Spanish, because it just goes like, hola, hola, hola.
Really? Oh, I need to
it's
listen
so
to that.
good. And then the Chinese one's even better, because he goes like, ni hao, ni hao.
Okay, that would be a lot more easy for me to stand if I was listening to it in Japanese.
Yeah.
That would be cute.
To cycle through the different languages, you know, so each time you don't know how he's going to greet you, but
That would be pretty dope.
Write a
an
note to
idea.
Blizzard. That would be so cool. If just randomly it was a different language every time, that would be cool.
That would be pretty rad. All right, so we're like 21 minutes into the episode. We haven't really talked about anything. So,
Well, I think it's important for our listeners to get to know us.
yeah, that's true.
Kind of
So
make a foundation.
let's talk about the main thing. So the biggest thing that's hit the ladder since TGT has been what?
Hit the ladder,
Paladin.
Secret Paladin.
Secret Paladin.
Yeah.
And not even just Secret Paladin in like a single deck list, right?
Right. There's so many.
So how many Secret Paladins have we seen like on the ladder, guys?
5.
The most
You've seen
common
5?
ones, the most common ones are the aggro and the mid range. So you see a lot of people who are just, getting as much stuff on the board as quick as they can to bridge the gap to the Mysterious Challenger. And then you got the other one that's a little bit more classic mid-range Paladin deck with the Mysterious Challenger and the Merlin.
Andrew, I think you're roboting for me, man.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
just saying.
For some reason, you keep going in and out. You were
Oh,
fine
well.
when we started, but now it's...
Is that better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Something happened with my microphone. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, it's still going in
cutting
and out.
It
Yeah.
is cutting in and out still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can try and get out and back in.
I'm sure your audio recording's fine, but we just like can't really react to what you're saying.
Yeah, no, it'll be hard if you can't hear me. Yeah. Let me try exiting and re-getting back in the Hangout real quick.
Go out and then come back in again.
Sure. Do you want me to resend you the link? I think he's already gone. So we'll keep talking while he's gone, I guess. Eve, at least for our audio's sake.
Yeah, I've seen about 5 different ones. There's a couple
That's
that are
insane.
different variations of really aggressive ones, and then there are a couple that are sort of more mid-range that try and have a bit more late game, because
Yeah.
if you don't get a good draw, it can really be a hard deck. Like if you get
Yeah.
a good draw, it's amazing, and that's why I rank depth so quickly. But yeah, I've definitely had my experiences with having bad games where I just came up against people who were prepared for me, who knew exactly
Oh, right.
how to
yeah.
counter everything I was doing. And
I mean, this deck is supposed to be able to outrace Face Hunter. Like, that's the beauty of this deck.
I definitely have.
But
Yeah, I
Today,
definitely have.
I have gotten wrecked by Face Hunter. Like,
Explosive
I just
trap?
got embarrassed. No, he didn't even run a single trap.
Oh, wow.
The trap was literally the finishing 2 points of damage. That was it.
Oh. Did
So
he
I
have
got
flare?
outraced. No, he didn't even play flare. Like, this is legit, like, old school Face Hunter, not a
He
single
was just
TGT
faster
target
than
that he
you.
played.
Like, just went
Yeah, he
face
was way
and was
faster.
faster.
Yeah.
I think they
I
can
just
do
drew
that
poorly.
because they have charge, and we don't really have anything in Secret Paladin with charge.
Yeah, that's very true, because Secret Paladin doesn't necessarily run a bunch of charge, but what it does is it floods the board quickly enough.
Yeah.
Or it does like a coin mini bot, and then the mini bot survives, or maybe what I've done today, where I was able to win one match, actually on a more of a control anti Secret Paladin deck, where you play a mini bot on turn 2 and you go second, and then turn 3 you coin out a kings and you hit him for 6. So it's pretty insane if they don't have owls, which Andrew's back, but owls are awesome against this deck.
Yeah, I didn't have. There's no owls in my version that I play, so you pretty much have to get them down before they start dropping big, heavy minions.
Yeah, the owls are really great when they drop the challenger. Ironbeak Owl is what we're talking about if you're more of a newer player. But let's kind of get into this deck. So what is the big thing with this deck? Why is a lot of people running this? Well, I think first and foremost, the deck is strong. Like, it has a lot of it's very strong quickly with openers, and it's cheap. So this deck doesn't run any legendaries and only runs 2 copies of the Mysterious Challenger, which is an epic.
Mm-hmm.
You can get away with all commons and rares after that.
Oh, dang. Still going in and out for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened because you were fine at the very beginning. Like everything sounded great when you did your intro.
Right. Right.
But I'm still breaking up now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you have like some headphones that you can just use, or if it's the internet connection.
I mean, it seems to be fine on Audacity right now.
Okay.
There's got to be something with the internet, but
Okay. Well, we'll just have to roll with the punches. So yeah, it runs the keys of the deck, like the core of cards, are basically the 2 mysterious challengers. There's 2 mini bots, and there's 2 there's 2 shield mini bots, 2 muster for battles, and then there's anywhere between 4 secrets to 8 secrets.
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
Competitive
you can run
Spirit
1 copy of 4 different
is-
ones, or 2 copies of all 4.
Competitive Spirit is the new TGT secret that is pretty amazing if you can get a board. It's not that great if you don't have a board. It's not one of
Yeah.
those ones that's going to do you a lot of good if you don't have a board, but it can steamroll pretty quickly if you do manage to get out
Right.
muster for battle.
Yeah, if you can get some sort of like, the way I've been able to get it is honestly been it's like turn 1 mini bot, or better yet, sometimes you can get a turn 1, you get an open with a coin, a Noyotron, and then turn 2 you can drop Noble Sacrifice, which is the 2/1 that pops up and then it blocks a hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can get a Repentance down, which basically just resurrects a minion at 1 health. So if you have a Noyotron out there and it doesn't take any damage, you can do that. On turn 2, you can drop those 2 secrets and attack face. Then on turn 3, you can play,
But as much as you can, you don't want those secrets. You want them to be pulled out
Right.
all at once by Mysterious Challenger, because without those secrets, he's just a 6/6 for 6. His
sure.
amazing ability is pulling all of those secrets out of your deck. So you want to mulligan away any secrets that you have in your hand as much as you can. I have a Secret Keeper in my deck, so if you do end up having some secrets before Mysterious Challenger comes out, then Secret Keeper can get pretty big pretty quickly.
Yeah, so if you're running the aggro Secret Keeper one...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, was that Andrew? Were you going to say something?
No, I didn't say anything, sorry.
Okay. But yeah, like Secret Keeper is only in a couple of the aggro ones. So if you're running a very aggressive deck, you'll want to run 2 Secret Keepers, because you can actually hold a Secret Keeper and 1 secret in your opening hand, and it'd be really good. That's a great, very strong turn 2 play. Or if you just want to play, hold a Secret Keeper and you're going first and you have 2 secrets, that's really good. Because then you could just play Secret Keeper turn 1, drop 2 secrets, and you're in business. That thing's going to be a massive force.
For me, it's basically if you get secrets, then it makes Secret Keeper more powerful. The optimal choice is to not have any secrets until Mysterious Challenger comes out, because then you get huge value with him. But if you do draw secrets before he comes out, then Secret Keeper makes them valuable.
And
But
I don't
as
know about
much
you
as
guys,
possible, yeah.
It's always really common that I'll get some in my opening hand. I mean, when you're playing with 10 secrets in your deck, that's a third of your deck. So the chances that you're going to get at least one before you get that Mysterious Challenger out are huge. And that's the nice thing about the Secret Keeper. You actually give value with those secrets rather than having to, really lament getting them out there. They actually can help you.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, because like the deck runs basically 8 secrets, and it's 4 different secrets that are run twice. So the secrets are Get Down or
Noble Sacrifice.
Noble Sacrifice or Noble Sack, depending on how you want to call it. And then they have the Competitive Spirit, which is the new GGG one. They also have Repentance, which is awesome for any Divine Shield minion that dies, or if it's
Haunted Creeper.
Basically Divine Shield minions. And what's the last one? It's Avenge.
Redemption.
Right?
Yeah, Avenge.
I think it's Avenge.
Mm-hmm. Avenge just gets you. I mean, the ideal combo is that you have the Noble Sacrifice, Avenge, Redemption, so that when they attack your next turn, the Noble Sac guy is out. One of your Mysterious Challenger or someone else gets buffed by Avenge, and then Noble Sac guy is back. Then you got Competitive Spirit to buff all of them the next turn, and your opponent's wrecked at that point if they don't have an answer.
Yeah, if they don't, like, I think actually there's a lot of different counters for this that people were just like, for some reason, just brain farting on, and that's why the ladder was just so aggressive, because I think everybody wanted to play new decks like Beast Druid, Totem Shaman, new Ramp Druid, Astral Communion, new Wallet Warrior with Varian, Dragon anything.
Could you explain to me what Wallet Warrior is? Is it just because it's expensive?
Yeah.
Wallet Warrior is basically another name for Control Warrior.
But it uses a lot of legendary minions.
At least 6 legendaries.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So you run Harrison Jones almost all the time. It's either Harrison or the Black Knight, depending on the meta. And then sometimes you can run a healing card instead. But that's your mid-range one. You also run Lotheb, you run Sylvanas, you run Dr. Smells or Dr. Boom. Always run Alexstrasza. Some versions run Ysera. Some versions run Nefarian. Some versions also include Ragnaros or Baron Geddon. And then
it just
Varian
sounds
Wraith is
like
now
you're
the new
putting
one.
a ton of legendaries in a deck. So
Exactly.
I don't know, what makes it more valid for a warrior to just throw every legendary they own into a deck?
Well, because they've got so many other tools to bridge themselves into the late game. They've got the Armor Smith, they've got the Acolyte of Pain, they've got Shield Bearer, they've got Shield Block. They keep on putting on armor so they can last until that late game. Unlike a lot of other classes. Druid's the other one that you see doing that because they've got Wild Growth to accelerate themselves to that late game.
Okay.
Right. So the reason Druid looks awesome with a bunch of legendaries is because they're able to ramp up to getting really big cards and dropping them for single value. But the thing that makes them different from Warrior is Warrior just doesn't have to ramp. They just have to wait. So
they have to outweight you.
They can outweight anyone.
Oh yeah.
The only class that is able to outweight Warrior is a Control Priest. Control Priest will destroy a Control Warrior 9 times out of 10.
Because they can just heal themselves
and steal.
Well, just because they can out-sustain them. Like Warrior has all of that armor, which sometimes can be a liability in some cases, because all the priest has to do is maintain the armor count and then drop Alexstrasza. But traditionally, the Control Priest honestly just wins because they're able to not be able to out-sustain the Warrior, but actually able to get more cards over the course of the entire game without drawing through their entire deck like Warrior has to. So Priest does like to get the cycle, the card draw with the Clerics, but the Control Warrior has to draw in order to play cards. Priest has Thoughtsteal. They have Shadow Madness to take your minions and kill them by themselves, and basically trade 2 for 0 with 1 spell. It's pretty powerful if you can do it right. And then if you mind control a Sludge Belcher and it dies, you actually get the token.
Right.
So you're not only going 2 for 0, but you're also gaining a minion for 4 mana. It's pretty insane. So yeah, that's how that works. But like Justicar Trueheart has been changing that matchup and making it a little bit closer, just because Warrior's able to out armor in the matchup with Priest if they can run Justicar Trueheart for a Priest tech.
Yeah, that's
it also
just
depends
ridiculous
on what
amount
Sylvanas
of
does during
armor.
the course of the game. Yeah.
It just gets to the point where you're like, I'm never gonna get through all that armor. I just might as well concede right here.
Yep.
Yeah, the only reason Priest is not really seen is because Patron Warrior has been taking the place of the Warrior slot for a lot of tournament play and ladder play, because that Warrior deck doesn't take as long to climb, and it's equal, if not better than Control Warrior. And if you run up against a Control Priest, it's like, okay, you can heal all the way up to 30, but I'm going to run 2 Frothies into you and OTK you, or 1 turn kill you. Mm-hmm. But it's a very difficult deck to play, so that's why it's pretty much set for highest level of play. Let's keep talking about our Secret Paladin here. Why is this deck
we did get
bad?
a little bit off.
Yeah, we did get a little bit off. So
why is this
why
deck
is it
bad? Okay, because it really counts on you to use a lot of one-cost minions to control the board, and if you get wiped out, you got no late game.
It's true.
Like,
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
In my experience, the times that you cannot come back is when your opponent has a lot of minions on the board. Your ideal play when you're playing the Mad Hatter deck is that the Secret Challenger comes out and your opponent either has nothing on the board or one minion on the board. If they have more than that, a lot of times they can come back and do some silly stuff to just completely clear you out, and you have no chance of getting back in the game at that point. I ran into a shaman this morning as I was playing this who just wrecked me with his Defender of Argai. Is it Argai? Is that the plural of Defender of Argus?
So at this point in the podcast, we lost Andrew to technical difficulties with our Wi-Fi. So we went ahead and cut it for you so that you don't have to endure the long pocket of time for us trying to get him back. So here you go.
Tell us what you were going to tell us about Hearthstone.
So mind-blowing. You are about to have your minds blown. So this morning...
blow our minds, Andrew.
Right, so this morning I was playing the Mad Hatter deck to get ready for this, and I went up against a shaman. I thought this would be easy. Problem was, this shaman was like almost a shaman zoo. So he was getting out zombie chows. He was getting out a bunch of totems. I think there was a Shattered Sun Cleric in there. It was really funky. But his key card was the Defender of Argus. And the problem was he would put that down and all of a sudden have two taunts there. When you're playing Mad Hatter, you really want your opponent's board to be completely clear if you can. In fact, when Mysterious Challenger goes down, your opponent better not have any more than one minion, or else they can definitely cripple you, and you can't have that amazing swing play that you want. So I really think Defender of Argus is a key card to counter against this kind of deck. It's very weak if you get all that stuff in the way, and you can really make easy work out of the secrets.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea to include there. Yeah, I want to write that down here.
I'm not seeing it in any of them
So, basically, I think that this deck has an exact copy of a previous deck as far as how it works and what it seeks to do. So this deck is basically Mech Shaman. Mech Shaman in the very end of the most recent season ran Fel Reavers, and Fel Reavers were in essence a turn 5 turn that you would burn 3 cards or 6 cards or 12 cards because you had it on the board, but you'd swing for 8 anyway, so it didn't really matter. Essentially, these Mysterious Challenger does the same thing, but you're hoping to top deck it instead of drop it on tempo, and when you top deck it, it basically fills the board with like virtually between 3 to 6 cards at one time, and then it turns into like a 9-7 or something ridiculous after the Avenge and the Noble Sack and Repentance all proc, and then you can get, if they don't remove it, you get another buff with the Competitive Spirit, and it's just a big mess. But you're hoping to just push them down a bunch of damage so that you only have to top deck like a True Silver after that and hit them, and you've just done like 14 damage in a turn and you win. So essentially that's what, Mech Shaman did. They'd have one amazing God Hand. If they couldn't deal with it and you had it at the same time, then you would win. Basically you could Rock Biter weapon a Whirling Zap-O-Matic that has Wind Fury, and you're able to hit a hero for 12 damage with a 2-drop. It's like ridiculous. And then by that point they're so far behind, if you drop a Fel Reaver, they just concede.
Yeah, I guess it is a lot like a Mech Mage.
Mech Shaman, but yeah.
Or sorry, Mech Shaman. I was thinking Mech Mage too.
I don't know if Andrew's talking right now because I can't hear him.
No, I wasn't talking.
Okay. So how do we counter this on a budget? That's the biggest deal, right? Like the pros have the budgets to handle what's get thrown at them on the ladder, especially if you just see it over and over and over again. Like if you're seeing a deck over and over again, that's actually not a bad thing, even if it's consistently winning against you, as long as you know how to tech your deck against it. That's the big key with climbing ladder.
So we're going to talk about how to tech against this now?
Just a little bit. So I don't want people to just be discouraged. I think that if they have the cards, they can either if you can't beat them, join them.
Yes,
play the deck,
join the Paladin team. Take over the world with
do
me.
it.
That's right.
But I think that the deck, as of today,
Two
which
arms,
is Friday, by the time you listen to this,
Exactly.
2 arms men, yes, for justice.
Yes.
But they have this deck is like one of those things where it can get out of hand and you can win a lot of games, but in other times you can draw really poorly, or you can play against the bad matchup every time and lose, or even a mirror match and just lose because they can outrace you by 1 card.
Well, and it's not completely easy to play. There are a lot of times when you have to make decisions of whether to trade for the other side's minions to clear their board, or whether to go face, and whether to just kind of hold on to your mysterious challenger for another turn so he gets more value. When to use Divine Favor.
Yeah, it's very rare that you want to hold on to pretty much anything in this deck. The mysterious challenger
this deck is all about
down.
pooping out your hand as fast as you can.
Yeah. Like the thing is, if you're against an aggro deck, you want to play Divine Favor quickly because they're emptying their cards as fast as you are, and you're not going to get any value out of it.
That's exactly right.
But if you're playing against anything like Warlock, you're going to get huge value out of that card. And it's definitely going to help you win the game.
I was watching Eloise of Tempo Storm play against this deck this morning, and against the Face Hunter deck, and she beat both of them because she was running a weird deck that was like running 1 Demon Fire, or not Demon Fire, it's like the Demon
Wrath?
AoE Demon Wrath. Yeah, and then it ran like 1 Hellfire, and it was like Dragon synergy because it ran the Taunt Dragons and 2 of the Blackwing Consorts and an Alex Strauss. It was like a really weird modern what's it called? Handlock deck. And she was able to out-sustain them because of clearing the board and dropping an Emperor on turn 6 and then just healing through it. I think
the key is finding some kind of AoE that's going to work for your advantage. I mean, I hadn't thought about Wild Pyromancer much, but that 1 attack, that 1 damage to all minions, that's all you need.
Even that Wild Pyro can clear it.
Even if you're really on a budget, an Arcane Explosion, I mean, we haven't seen that card in play. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't come back now, because that's exactly the card you want to get rid of all those,
I've run up against a couple mages. Yeah.
Have you really? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's a really good budget card for mages, to be honest, especially if you're playing like a lower budget tempo or mid-range mage. I was watching Vincent this morning play a Dragon Mage, which was insane. He played 5 he got 5 Nefarians from Duplicate over the course of the game and got to play 3 of them before he won.
Wrecked.
It was insane.
Like you said, though, it's not a card that sees much play, so I was surprised when the mage had it, and it just totally wrecked me.
Yeah, so if you're playing a lot of Hunter, you need to run at least 1 Flare. And I've talked to a Legend player named Joseph. Shout out to the Dumius. He helped me out with a really great Hunter deck, but it's not necessarily a budget deck. I think what you really want is you want to drop Wild Pyromancer into a Flare, and your opponent cries. Like, you clear the board and you clear all the secrets, and then they concede because they have nothing in their hand.
Yeah, I think matchups against other aggro decks are pretty bad because you run through your cards pretty quickly, especially when Mysterious Challenger takes all the secrets out of your deck. Yep. And Divine Favor just doesn't do you any favors at that point. So
I see what you did there.
No Divine Favor for you.
That's right.
That's funny. But there's another version of the deck that I've been playing, and it's kind of crappy but kind of good. It's basically a mid-range one, but this is like a 5400 dust type deck. Like, this runs Tyrion, Dr. Boom, double Belchers, and but it's like it's meant to basically be this deck while countering this deck, and it'd be mid-range version instead of aggro version.
Interesting.
And I've definitely seen one that runs Murloc Knight, which makes it a bit more sticky, because if you can get him out, you're suddenly able to make a lot more minions.
Murloc Knight basically evens out your curve a little bit better, so I can see you cutting the abusive sergeants for this.
Actually, what I took out was 1 Secret Keeper. Took out one of my Secret Keeper and put in Murloc Knight, because I figured.
See, I could even argue for this deck that you need some help when you need a top deck for one of those cards. So you could even argue, I've got I've got a Murloc Knight in here. Maybe I should run 2. So maybe you cut 2 of your 1-drops and drop those.
I dropped
and then you have 2
one
turn 6 plays.
One of the Divine Favors because I was getting against a lot of aggro decks.
Mm-hmm.
So I took out one
and
Divine
you weren't
Favor.
Any value off of it?
Yeah. And put in 2 Murloc Knights. So took out one of the Secret Keepers, one of the Divine Favors, and put in 2 Murloc. And it's really working well. Murloc Knight, people are scared of that thing. Because I've seen a Murloc Knight come out of a Murloc Knight, and then the next turn, another Murloc Knight come out.
Yeah. I have a deck that I got from Strife Crow. I don't know if this is in the... I don't think this is actually in our show notes, but I might be able to see if I can put it in there. I'll look through the links later for you guys, but this deck is insane. It's like an actually really good mid-range paladin that doesn't run the Mysterious Challenger, and it doesn't run a single secret, and it just embarrasses this deck. It's so good.
Aww.
Basically,
don't take down my Secret Paladin.
It was awesome. Like, I don't even know how to describe it to you. I was able to Murloc Knight the board and get Old Murk-Eye, clear the board, play another Murloc Knight, and then draw a True Silver and win. Like, it was awesome.
Is that Murkadin then? The Murloc Paladin variant?
Murkadin is an aggro version.
Okay.
There's a guy named Hey Murky that runs a lot of really good decks. He had an excellent Face Hunter mixture of Murloc and Hunter that was better than the Face Hunter deck, and I ran that last season and climbed a lot of ranks with it. Because nobody expects the Murlocs, and they're super powerful. So here's the general gist of how to counter the deck according to our show notes. There's a few other options like that are more budget but not as good, like Refreshment Vendor and Kez and the Mystic. If you have them, maybe those will work for you, but they're kind of like on the lower end tier of what can be effectively done. But I think that your top cards are basically anything that is AoE. Try to get some AoE in the deck that doesn't hurt you, and then use it when the board is full of non-divine minions. So you basically want to Divine Shield, get rid of those Divine Shields as much as you can, wipe the board, and then think about the secrets. Like, try to play around Noble Sack. So get the Noble Sack to proc, and then drop your stuff, and then AoE the board.
Yeah, if you are a warrior and you have weapons, then you can use those to go face first to make Noble Sacrifice proc and kind of force things to go the way you want them to. As priest, they have a lot of cards which steal low-cost minions, and that's pretty much all you've got in your deck is a lot of low-cost minions, so they can take those away from you. I actually ran
a really
against
bad idea, though.
a warrior that was running 2 Brawls and Baron Geddon, and I'm pretty sure he teched Baron Geddon in there just to wreck
Baron's very strong
Secret
right now.
Paladin. Like, I felt like he made that
and
deck
Mini Baron's good right now,
specifically.
too.
Yeah.
Mini Baron is Dreadscale, is the legendary for the 3-mana legendary for hunters, and that thing is insanity.
Right. Does 1 damage to all minions except for itself.
Yeah. And then, Andrew, you mentioned Defender of Argus. Is there any other cards that you would say is really good, too?
I think that's the big one for building your board, honestly.
That one, and you said Wild Pyro too, right?
Yeah, I don't know that Wild Pyro is really going to be effective. I haven't seen that as much, but man, Defender of Argus has just shut me down too many times. I do also want to mention that Kez and Mystic is almost like the bait and switch. Like, it would seem that she can answer it, but her just taking 1 secret really doesn't do much for you. So I would stay away from her.
Yeah.
I think what you want to do with the Kez and Mystic is basically when the Mysterious Challenger procs, you're either hoping to drop it before and then maybe mess up the card interaction, or you want to pop all the secrets and then steal competitive spirit. So that's the other thing. Let's see what else we got on here. Basically, there's another card. Any kind of, like, there's anti-aggro priest decks you can run that you'll just destroy everything that runs at you. There's a dragon priest deck right now that's we're going to be talking about next. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then any silence. Silence is awesome against this deck. So silence, Iron Beak Owl, Spellbreaker, Master Spell, stuff like that.
But the big thing is that you want to develop a board and keep it there. You know, keep trading and make sure that they don't have anything on their side.
Yeah. Taunts are good. Sludge Belcher is a good tech card, but it's hard because Belcher doesn't come by soon enough.
It's true.
You need like the Nootron might even be better.
I feel like the decks that it does well against are anything slow, anything where you're going to have a lot of cards in your hand, so you get a lot of value off of Divine Favor, and give you a chance to get board full of minions and then be able to buff them up. And it's weak against aggro, so any deck that is trying to work as fast as you and keep you from getting a board full of minions, you're going to struggle against.
Okay. I know that I made one of these decks cry this morning when I finally switched out of my Mad Hatter deck and went to a anti-Mad Hatter Paladin, and I had the dream. I played a Nootron and turn 2, and then he played a Minibot, and then I played a Blood Knight, and I had a 9/9 Blood Knight and made him cry.
Now, I have heard people putting those Blood Knights in their own deck.
Yes,
like putting Blood Knight into the
is
secret
scary
Paladin
because
deck.
you can tech it into your own deck. You can tech it into any deck against them, and depending on circumstances, you can get some crazy value. But Blood Knight, I will confirm, if you can steal 1 Divine Shield from your opponent, it's a good value.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 6/6 for 3. That's stupid. There's no reason for that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to
exactly.
become huge if Secret Paladin stays long
Also,
enough.
a card that I was thinking through is Power Word Glory. Getting 4 health back when a minion attacks. That's pretty crazy. Like, you can basically Power Word Glory your opponent's minion, so you're gaining 4 health every time it attacks.
Yeah, but effectively, if they're, if they've got a buffed, secret challenger, if you put it on him, then you're basically taking away 4 attack from him, which
True.
You just want to shut him down. You don't want to, cripple him a little bit.
Right. I think this is more of like a stall mechanic for you early than
That's
it would
fair.
be a late game thing.
That's fair.
But yeah, lots of cheap early removal, polymorph spell, hex spells, great. Jousting cards have been really interesting. The deck I run actually runs 2 Tuskar Jousters. And if you win the joust, you gain 7 health and you get a 5/5 on the board. It's pretty good. Mm-hmm. So that's how I've been able to tech against it.
I feel like
do's and don'ts for the deck.
I feel like it's a good deck and it's got a lot of good synergies, but it's not something that's just like run away going to win you the game every time.
Right.
There's definitely a lot of drawbacks to depending on what kind of draws you get and depending against what your matchup is. So it doesn't feel like Face Hunter or something that's just so strong that it can win against almost every type.
Yeah.
It definitely has its weaknesses. I would say do's and don'ts of the deck. Try not to hold any secrets in your hand at all. Don't mulligan for them. Get rid of them all. You want Mysterious Challenger to get the maximum amount of value. Yeah. And before you play Mysterious Challenger, make sure that you don't have any secrets up in case you were playing them to make Secret Keeper stronger or something. Try and make sure that none of them are up when you play him.
Yep. Andrew, what would you say is some of the big do's and don'ts while playing or even before playing?
Yeah, I mean, one thing is that you want to keep Divine Favor in your hand. I've found that that's a key card in order to cycle through your deck, because if you don't have your Mysterious Challenger on turn 6 or 7, you're probably not going to win. There's sometimes I've been able to win by turn 5 or, but that's a rare occasion. So Make sure you hold on to that Divine Favor and always get rid of your hand as fast as you can in hopes that Divine Favor is going to come up if you haven't gotten it already.
Right.
Yeah.
And beware the Flood Paladin. There's a Flood Paladin list that's basically like aggro Paladin without secrets, really, and that's dangerous. Like they'll contest you 50-50 at the time, even if you both get the God draws. It could be either way.
Yeah, they have
that's
equality
a classic
consecrate.
aggro pally.
Yeah, it's a good. They only run 1 copy of that combo, but do's and don'ts for the deck. Actually, something that I feel like a lot of podcasts don't discuss is what do you do or what do you not do in order to make the deck, like before you're actually playing. Like we can discuss strategy and cards to put in and take out all day, but I think at the core of it, most of you have a limited collection. So I put in here: don't craft a Secret Keeper. Just don't do it. It's a waste of dust. It'll be a fad.
You can put a Leper Gnome in there and feel good about yourself. That's fine.
Leper Gnomes are fine. But I will say you should craft the Mysterious Challengers.
Yeah, it's not a Secret Paladin
cards.
Without the Mysterious Challenger.
Yeah.
That's like running Patron without Patron. You
Exactly.
can't do it. That's the whole point of the deck.
Yeah, exactly.
Good analogy.
And don't craft 2 divine favors. I could see you crafting 1. I think having 1 in your collection's good, but nah. I think that crafting the competitive spirits would be a good move. I'm just going to make this more of a predictive thing, but I think competitive spirit is a good secret. I think it's the only good secret besides avenge for paladins.
I think it works really well if you have a full board, but it is situational. If you're against an aggro deck, you might only have 1 minion out there.
But like, I can see you playing competitive spirit after like a quartermaster or something, and your board survives, and like you have an extra minion mana floating. You might be able to do this. I would not run mad scientists.
No.
With competitive spirit.
There's a couple versions that run.
There's a couple versions that run a crap ton of secrets, including Eye for an Eye. Just say no. Don't do it. Don't do Eye for an Eye.
I have not seen an Eye for an Eye.
I have seen 1 copy of it in a couple decks. Do craft the Equality. I think Equality is one of the most invaluable cards at Paladin's arsenal in general. So do craft that card.
That's a good card to have. I'm not sure it necessarily has a place in the Secret Paladin deck.
If you're
I've
going
seen
for
some
a
Secret
mid-range.
Paladins running Equality in order to clear aggro boards.
Well, I have seen them running the one secret that when your opponent plays a minion, it reduces its health to 1.
Humility.
No, Humility is the card that reduces their attack to 1.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
Repentance.
a secret. Yes, yeah, I think that's it. And yeah, that definitely makes it hard for them to play around when they're trying to drop their big taunty minions.
Yeah. Well, there's a good counterpoint too, but I just like having the Equality if you want to run the more mid-rangey one.
If you like playing Paladin in general,
and if you like playing Paladin in general, you're going to need it.
It's a definitely good card to have.
And then the last one on the list is Jugglers, dude.
Oh,
Make
yes.
them. Jugglers are going to be one of the first cards you should craft as a new player. Like, you just need both.
Absolutely.
Putting down a Haunted Creeper, and then next turn putting down Knife Juggler and
trading.
killing your Haunted Creeper against their minion, and yes, that's such a good play. And also with Muster for Battle. Very good value.
There's some alternate cards that we've included for you. If you want to go in more mid-range, those are in there, some of the ones we discussed. But we're going to transition, and hopefully we'll have enough time to go through this in about 20 minutes, is Dragon Priest. Do we want to try to tackle this today, or do you want to try to tackle this later?
I will just say that all week I've been playing Secret Paladin, trying to kind of prepare so I have an idea of what the meta looks like and what the decks they were coming up against looks like. And I just hate Dragon Priests because they are
You hate playing against it?
Yes, as Secret Paladin, it's really hard to play against Dragon Priests.
Wait. And we just said
it can
that,
be a 50-50, but I think it's more of a 60-40 in the favor of Dragon Priest. That you're going to win.
For the secrets to work, you can't go up against taunts, and Dragon Priest is just taunt after taunt after taunt.
That's exactly right.
And then they still have those cards that take away your minions too. Like they still have those spells in there that just take my
Some
little
decks even run
away.
Sylvanas. Yeah, this deck is insane, right? So the reason this deck is not insane is why this is my favorite deck ever, but I feel like this deck is my favorite deck ever made in the game because it's just so dang consistent. It's so dang consistent. It's awesome. Like, I've never had a deck that plays more consistently. Even if you win or lose, you still feel good about the game. You're like, well, man, I was so close and I was trading. And then some people don't like the deck because it's like, you know, you put all this effort in the game and you're playing and you're trading and you're getting ahead and you're ahead on every single play. And then you lose. You're like, what?
I don't mind losing like that. The times I mind losing is when I feel like I had absolutely no chance and I was just like the entire game there was nothing I could do and I feel helpless. I don't mind like trying my best and getting to the end and going, oh, you know, he drew a better card than me, and that doesn't feel as bad as just to be completely run over.
Right. Dragon Priest is just weird. Like, you basically are trading a lot during the course of the game and clearing the board and getting a little bit of edgy damage in. And this deck destroys Patron Warrior, guys. I just want to let you know that. This is anti-Patron, so this is great. But This is not a cheap deck. I will warn you. This is not a cheap deck. However, a lot of the cards in this deck are from Blackrock Mountain. So if you were able to buy that adventure or get the adventure with a lot of your gold and defeat Nefarian, this deck can be great. There's lots of substitutions for this deck.
It is very expensive.
And everyone was excited about dragons when Blackrock Mountain came out, but the problem was that there were just a few missing mana slots, and with the Grand Tournament now, they've really come out with some specifically for Priest that are going to fill in and really, carry you. The reason this deck is so strong is that there's a minion that can be played on every single turn that is extremely valuable. I mean, you got Twilight Whelp on turn 1, you got Wormworst Agent on turn 2, you got Blackwing Technician on 3, Twilight Guardian on 4. It's just relentless, and you keep going. And then at some point, as the priest, you just keep healing your minions, and then you've got a wall cards that your opponent cannot do anything about.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it's really strong.
So what are the MVPs of the deck?
That's the thing. Like he said, the whole deck's an MVP. Like it's just value after value after value, and that's what makes it great. But the only reason I don't have it, even though I really want to play it, is because it's so expensive. I do not have a lot of the cards that you need to make that deck up.
I would say that there are about 8 cards out of 30 that are absolutely undeniable. You have to have these cards in order to play the deck.
Yeah, and that's hard.
And those cards are actually going to be the Twilight Guardians, which are both epic, 2 Wormrest Agents, which are rare. Arguably, a lot of people already have Azure Drakes, but if you're a newer player and you don't have them, Azure Drakes are 2 rares that you're going to need to have. And then the other 2 cards are legendary, and that is Chillmaw and Ysera. Like, you need those cards.
Yeah, I would even argue that
shine without.
I would even argue Chillmaw isn't absolutely necessary. Like, it's really that early game, and I think even if you Twilight Guardian is huge, but even if you don't have that, you could do a Twilight Drake. You could do what's the other 4-cost dragon, or is there one?
Those are it. It's Twilight Drake and Twilight Dragon.
Yeah. So you could throw Twilight Drake in there and make it work, but you've got to have Blackrock Mountain for the Twilight Whelp and the Blackwing Technician, and then the Wormworst Agent on turn 2 is really important too. But hopefully you have a lot of classic dragons that can fill in the middle, and then you've got the legendary ones from the set like Chromagus and Nefarian, who are they're going to do work. Oh, Dragonkin Sorcerer, that was the 4-drop I was trying to think of. That one's
Dragonkin Sorcerer is also a Blackrock Mountain card. That card is actually a tech card, but let me tell you why
I
the
think
deck
there's ways
works.
You can play it.
Yeah. The deck works because Dragon synergy cards, right? And then you have Dragon cards themselves. So cards that synergize with a card that says Dragon in it, meaning like if you have a Dragon in your hand, this happens. And then the deck also has dragons to enable that. The reason the deck actually starts working is because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 10 dragons in the list that I run. So there's 10 dragons in the deck, period. But half of the dragons that are in the deck are enabled by dragons themselves. So they are twofold an enabler and enabled by dragons. So that was what makes the deck truly shine, because you can say, well, in this turn, I can play my dragon enabler, and then I can play, or my dragon that is, I can wait to hold my dragon, and then I can play the one that's maybe a cheaper cost, like a Blackwing Tech, instead of a Twilight Guardian, in order to get the buff for the 3/5, and then I can heal this turn instead of doing something on turn 5 with Twilight Guardian. So you have lots of different plays, and this utilizes your hero power a lot. The downside of the deck that I hate is that there's not enough, or I don't think there's any Inspire cards that you can really benefit from. The only benefit from your Inspire, I guess you could say, would be drawing cards with a Cleric.
Right. Just healing and drawing
But
cards.
the nice thing is you're playing so many high health minions, and even if you run a Valen's Chosen or 2 in this deck, I mean, you're going to be healing, and you get value from that because you trade it into something. You heal up, and then your opponent's down a minion. You still got yours at full health, you know?
Right. Velen's Chosen is also the other reason I like this deck, because that's the name of our podcast, and it's
obviously
a really awesome card in this deck.
We gotta throw it in there for our first.
We gotta do it. Yeah. So the decks that I've seen, if you look up this deck, you'll find the deck is or 8,800 dust. That's a crap ton of dust, right?
Compared to Secret Paladin, which is like 2,000.
It's 2,200 dust for Secret Paladin.
Yeah, that is.
But so much of it comes from adventure cards. You probably already have a lot of these.
The problem with looking at total dust cost these days is because we have 2 adventures, and if you've got the adventures, you can, in essence, ignore the dust cost.
Right.
Yeah.
Because half the cards in this deck are dust costed from Naxxramas. If you're running Dark Cultist and Blackrock Mountain, you're running, you could be even running Red Blackhand instead of Chromagus. I've seen people doing that. So yeah, like a lot of these are even legendaries that you can run from an adventure instead.
But how many TGT cards are in it?
There are 4.
Twilight Guardian,
5.
Wormlist Agent.
5 TGT cards in the deck.
So if you just bought the 50 packs,
and Chillmaw is technically replaceable.
You didn't get them in those 50 packs.
Yeah.
You've got the
Twilight
2
Guardian
rares.
is the one card that I think is the most versatile from TGT to go out and craft. If you're running any dragon decks, you're going to have that card. So if you're wondering, can I play Dragon Warrior? Can I play Dragon Rogue? Can I play Dragon anything? If you don't have Twilight Guardian ×2, then you're not playing a dragon deck the right way. It's just how it is. But what are a lot of the options here for this deck? There's lots of tech differences that you can run here.
Oh yeah, there's plenty. I mean, the main thing is that you got a backbone of dragons. You've got the typical good priest cards like the girl. Man, what's her name?
Northshire Cleric.
And thank you, Northshire Cleric. You've got your power word shields. You got light bombs, holy novas. I mean, you really can choose whatever you want after
Balance
that.
Chosen.
Yeah,
Holy Nova actually does well against Secret Paladin.
That's true.
Holy Nova is how you interact against aggro. Because you can basically Velen's chosen something and they're going to ignore it, and then you can Nova for 3. It's like that's pretty awesome. So yeah, like some decks will run different tech cards for that 6 slot. So you could run Light Bomb, you could run Sylvanas. Basically, that 6 slot can be completely removed if you're running against more aggro, or replaced with Light Bomb, or you can run a different card to interact with aggro, like, I don't know, Shadow Menace or something. But it basically is a control spot. So like if you're running up against good control cards that are high damage over health, you can run Light Bomb. If you want to steal them, you can run Sylvanas, but that's again an expensive option. So you can swap those cards out.
If you have the Cabal Shadow Priest also, Kalento is running a double Cabal double Shrinkmeister. So I've seen a lot of Ysera's on the ladder lately, and man, that is a wrecking ball of
Can
a
you
play
steal Ysera?
Oh yeah, you Shrinkmeister them. It's down to 2 health or 2 attack, and then Cabal can take it.
Wow, that would be awesome.
That's the ultimate
Shrinkmeister, and the only problem I have with that is you're running 4 cards to counter 1. Like, that's a bit much, in my opinion.
Oh, it's not just for Ysera, though. I mean, you can use it for Sludge Belcher. You can use it for all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's not an end-all, but it's a really effective play, especially against aggro decks that are out there now.
My concern
Kalento really
is
loves Shrinkmeister.
Yeah, my concern with those cards is, do you feel like it's sort of watering down the deck a little bit when you really want a lot of dragons and a lot of dragon synergy? Putting in those cards, do you feel like it's sort of watering down the identity?
As long as you got the backbone of those 1, 2, 3 drops, that establishes your board from the very beginning, and then you've got some really late game dragons that, I mean, you play those in a warrior deck regardless of if it's a dragon deck or not. So you're getting value out of those no matter what. So it's really just, what does that middle game look like? And the Cabal Shadow Priests are a great swing card that you can get value out of. Sometimes it doesn't work, but I think it's an effective mid game. Really, that's what the difference between all these dragon decks are, is what does your mid game look like?
Right, exactly right. You can basically pull Dark Cultists out of the deck. You can pull both of the Blackwing techs. You can pull the Dragonkin Sorcerer, and then you can even pull whatever 6 mana cost you have, and you can pull out Chillmaw, and then you can say, okay, now what? Like, that's basically what the deck is.
Yeah.
And you can even argue 1 Velen's Chosen and 1 Shadow Word Death, and run that, because you realistically don't need to. Like, I'm finding that running 2 Shadow Word Deaths is actually pretty clunky, so I threw in Sylvanas. But that's because I know that I would probably prefer on turn 6 or more, if they're going to swing at me with a Mysterious Challenger, I want to steal it. I don't want to kill it. Because I actually don't have a lot of win conditions in the deck. Your win condition is basically Outlast and Ysera. Those are your win conditions.
Yeah, just having like value minions on the board that trade with other minions and stay alive, and
especially with all the aggro out there, you just get your taunts up, and then you force them to run their own guys into you. And sometimes they've got an answer, but most of the time they're just struggling.
Yeah, and you have the Kalento version. And then you have the version that I think I got from Archon or Dumius or something, was saying that he found, I think Tempo Storm or somebody was running this, but basically they run Vol'jin at level 5 at the 5 slot.
And that's not
I haven't seen so much Vol'jin. So much.
Yeah, you can swap a health for 2 and you run 2 smites. And for 6 mana, you can kill a minion, get a bunch of health, and you have a Vol'jin on the board. But that's if you have the card.
Yeah, that is another expensive tech in. But yeah, I haven't seen Vol'jin in a long time, and all of a sudden I'm seeing a lot of him. So it's actually kind of nice.
He's a very cool card.
Yeah. It's nice to see cards that haven't been used being put back into play recently.
Right. That's another one that can go up against...
Oh, go ahead, Andrew.
It's another card that can go up against the Mysterious Challenger, Ysera, even something like KT. If he gets out on the board, you can just shut him down real fast, you know?
What was that card again, you said?
Kel'Thuzad.
Kel'Thuzad.
Yeah, KT can fit in this deck. Very, very, very good analysis, yeah. So this is like a side note in general from this deck that you guys can learn is from the release of TGT, like every time something happens where there's new cards, new adventure, anything, I really struggle disenchanting legendaries, even if they look bad, right?
I'm with you, Rob.
Yes.
So like, they're just, even if they're terrible, like Millhouse, like
I've got a Millhouse.
I've
got a Nat Pagel.
Yeah. You never know what suddenly is going to become valid that wasn't before, and then you're going to be like,
and Team 5 can do whatever they want with that card.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that also is really, like, that they said, we're never going to buff and nerf cards unless we have to. Like, since closed beta and the game released right after closed beta, they did a bunch of card changes. But I do not know of any card changes that they have buffed a card.
Yeah,
I don't think they've ever buffed a card unless that meant that they have released new cards that make that card better.
Yeah,
that's the way they do it. Buffed.
Yeah.
So, for instance, Light Warden. Light Warden is a horrible card. But Light Warden is a great card when you can heal for 3 and get 1 for free.
Lighter than Naru.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I think a lot of times Blizzard doesn't make bad cards. Blizzard makes cards to balance other stuff. Like every time I see a 2-drop, every time I see a 4-drop, you guys need to understand that not only are they trying to balance Arena and Constructed, but they're also balancing cards that like Piloted Shredder and the Sky Golem. Like they're making those cards diversified. So for every good card that they implement that's a 4-drop or a 2-drop, they have to make one that's at least suboptimal to pull from a Shredder or from a Piloted Sky Golem.
Yeah.
Since those cards exist.
Yeah, there's a couple more cards to come out of Piloted Shredders with this new expansion.
Void Crusher is a horrible 4-drop to get out of a
Well, that the Shamans totem guy?
Yeah, that is a big buff.
I think that's probably the best one you can get out of.
The new Shaman card's the best one to get out of a Shredder. Because your Shredder goes from 4/3 to a 3/4 if it dies. It's like
Oh, the totem.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, the totem golem.
The totem golem. Yeah. So I think we put in everything that we could as far as this deck's concerned. What are
I would like help from you guys, Maybe after we're done, maybe you can help me make a dragon deck with the cards that I own.
Let's do it.
Sure.
I bet we can.
I think you can argue that if you have one Twilight Guardian, you can have a good deck.
Yep.
I think you only need one.
I don't know
Even
if I have
even
one.
without it, you can make it work. It may not be quite as viable, but you can still have fun and get the feel of it.
Yeah.
If all you have is Blackwing cards and some packs that you've gotten in the past, either classic or TGT or whatever, we can make something work, Eve. We'll do it.
I mean, if
I
you're a good
honestly
enough
like
player
it
and you
so
can figure
much.
it
Like
out,
it
you can
looks
get to
like
rank
such
5.
a fun deck, and it looks so good. And the dragons, I want to play it, but I don't have the cards. And maybe if you
And
help me make
honestly,
the deck, the next show I can be like, okay, guys, this is the one.
You know what's going to
needed.
happen, Eve, is we're going to give you a really great budget deck so that Mysterious Challenger Paladin goes down, and then these dragon decks come out, and you're running Ren Blackhand for no tech reason other than that you don't have dragons, and you're going to be wrecking fools because you have Ren Blackhand and nobody else is
It's gonna
playing.
be good.
That happens. It happens. Like, people are playing suboptimal decks on ladder in Legend even, and catching Legend players by surprise because they're running 2 cards that are different from the actual deck list. That's how you climb. You run the deck list not because you're net decking, but because you're playing against the meta cards that you're seeing. That's something we're going to talk about extensively in one of our episodes that I have in topics.
I'll just say I really agree with that because I was running a Flamewaker mage, but I didn't have things like Antonidas and Ragnaros and things like that, and I had KT in it. Kel'Thuzad.
Yeah, so
and
they play around the other cards,
Yes.
and then you play KT, and they're just like, well, crap.
Now what do I do? I wasn't seeing that coming. Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
excited. Please help me make a dragon deck.
We'll do it.
Okay, so I'm just going to run through these real quick. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but these are the decks that I've seen this last 2 weeks that are popular. So we have 3 different Druid decks. Ramp Druid, there's a new 3 or 4 versions of Ramp Druid that are really good. There's Beast Druid, which is kind of mid-range, and that's okay. Just runs a lot of beasts. There's an Aviana Druid, which is like a big legendary Druid deck that's not that great. I actually tried playing it. It's not good. There's Dragon Priest, which we talked about. It runs lots of dragons and play Priest. There's the Mad Hatter, Dr. Six / mid-range Paladin, and then there's a bunch of anti-aggro Paladin decks out now too. There's Face Hunter, which there's a new version of it. There's a few new versions of it.
They run that
There's
lock and load.
There's a Lock and Load Hunter, and there's also
really?
Face Hunters that run Lock and Load, as well as a mid-range Hunter.
I haven't seen that.
Mm-hmm.
There is also a Hunter deck that I crafted not crafted. I just kind of made it because I had Dread Skill. But you basically put Dread Skill in 1 or 2 flares in a deck and run Face Hunter, and you can outrace the Mad Hatter. And Doomy has helped me make that one. So then we have there's a new tempo and new Grinder Mage that's actually coming out, and I think there's even a Grinder Mage variant that runs dragons, and it's really effective, and that's what Vincent was playing. That's really good. There's a Dragon Control Warrior right now that's getting a lot of fire, and it's real good. And then Totem Shaman is actually becoming more refined. I feel like Totem Shaman's going to start wrecking people because totems are awesome, man. And there's even a Totem Shaman that I went up against today that was also Ancestor's Call Malygos, and he beat me. I was like,
Oh, interesting.
whoa, this is insane.
I want Totem Shaman to become awesome because when we were getting all the cards revealed, that was something everyone was super excited about. Every time we saw a new Shaman card, it was like, Shaman's going to be a thing. This looks amazing. Yep. And I think it just really needs to be refined. Somebody really smarter than me needs to get down and make that deck work. And then it's going to be the secret come from behind hero of the TGT. I hope.
Yeah.
We're close to it. No question about it.
Yeah, I think it's strong. I think it's a good deck that people haven't figured out how to play yet, and people are excited enough about the deck that the pros are going to be making more decks, and people in the mid ranks are going to be making decks that work. Where are my warlocks at? I wrote that down in our show notes because I was like,
well, you
I
know
haven't
what?
seen a single one.
I didn't think they needed any help. Honestly, like Zoo is still good. Handlock is still good. I mean, you got Demon Lock. They're just so good. They didn't really need that much help from TGT.
Yeah,
they're just
they really didn't.
They're
and
still what
the
they are.
ironic thing about this is that Handlock is still good, like really good.
That's what I see more than anything from Warlocks right now, and I think that's because Secret Paladin struggles against it, because it's exactly what we talked about earlier about getting stuff on your board and taunting it up, and they can't get through it.
Yeah, and again, I'm trying to do my best to go quickly for new viewers and not so experienced viewers, but just to help you, Handlock is a Warlock deck where you're trying to draw a lot of cards and you run 2 Mountain Giants and 2 Molten Giants and some variation of Alexstrasza, Draxus, or Mal'Ganis as your 1 legendary usually for the deck. And some of them will run 2 legendaries, they'll run a Harrison Jones in there. But usually it's just a lot of cards that taunt. So Argus, Sun Fury Protector, Ancient Watchers, and lots of healing like anti-kill bots. It draws a lot of cards. It has a lot of firepower to remove stuff, and it's a control deck. And there's a Dragon Lock deck that's just kind of the same, but it runs Dragon Synergy cards, very little amount of them, and it's similar to Handlock. And then there's a new deck that I heard a lot of people talking about that's even mid-range to be good, but it's probably tier 3, tier 2. It's not like awesome, but it's the Dreadsteed Warlock. It's insane. Like, you can run Dreadsteed with Baron Rivendare from Naxxramas, and Demon Fuse is actually decent in the deck if you're playing it in the late game instead of the early game. And then, like, people are running Twisting Nether, which is one of the most beautiful animations in the game.
Yeah.
And you basically just never lose your Dreadsteeds because they don't die fast enough. And then when you play Baron Rivendare, at any point in the game, you don't have to drop it with the Dreadsteed. And the Dreadsteed dies and you get 2. And then 2 Dreadsteeds die and you get 4. And then your board's full.
But right now, it's just something that people are experimenting with. It's definitely not a full-fledged deck yet.
It's not a full-fledged great deck, but I feel like this deck can get out of control. Like, I think if Blizzard doesn't monitor what's happening with this deck could probably end up getting to be patron status. Like, I think it can be there.
Well, we'll see where it's at in a couple months, but right now it's not there at all.
Yeah, right now it's kind of a gimmick, and it's really fun, but I'm interested to see where this deck goes.
I heard Amaz talking about a tech in for Handlock, where you take out the Mountain Giants and you put in the
Frost Giants?
No, the two of the demons that you got.
No, I heard about that too.
The 7/8 Doomguard.
No, it's a 6/8. It's a 6/8, so that they can't remove it with
Big Game Hunter.
Yeah, that's the Fearsome Doomguard.
Yeah.
That's the name. It's a new Doomguard card, and it's a vanilla 6/8. Yeah.
And it just makes it a lot harder to remove because it's a 6/8 and they can't get rid of it with Big Game Hunter. Yeah.
Yeah, so the 6/8s are great, especially if you're running Void Caller, Demon, Handlock. So the Handlock has a lot of archetypes to play around with now. Billy, a friend of ours, has got this really weird Dragon Rogue with a Nubarok and Deathwing in it that actually is pretty interesting. There's a few oil rogues that are running Burgle that's really good, or like a Tempo Rogue. And then there's Pirate Rogue. Those are good, fun decks. And then Patron Warrior is still reigning, not supreme, but in the top.
Yeah, Patron is still up there. We were really hoping that they would get unseated with all the new cards coming out, but so far everything needs to be refined a bit more because it's still there.
Yeah.
Did we just lose Andrew?
I think we did, but he's back now.
He's back.
So.
Sorry.
I sound really echoey, don't I?
Gosh, seriously?
I'm okay.
All right, so is that... Are we wrapping up?
The show, you guys.
How long have we been running?
We've been around an hour and a half, but some of that will get cut in post.
Yeah.
So yeah. Andrew, where can people find you?
Go to Twitter. Andrew is living on there. Or if you like, I've got a few YouTube videos up about some arena tips that have really helped me up my game on there. And you can search for me. My username is BinacaFreak because I was a BinacaFreak in junior high. And there you go.
I have no idea what that is.
Binaca? Come on, man.
I've never heard of
minty spray
Binaca.
stuff. It was a thing at our school for whatever reason. So
that's funny.
And of course, YouTube is very generous in never letting you change your username ever. So
yes,
gotta keep it there.
Funny you should say that because my Twitter handle, I really need to work on changing that. It was something that I thought of a long time ago, and it's hard to spell and hard to remember.
That's hilarious.
So I need to, yeah.
Show notes are your friend, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, go to the show notes.
You'd have to look up Finavar, but spelled quite differently than you might think.
Yeah, it's FHINNOVARR.
Yes.
All right, you can find the podcast at twitter.com/Velens podcast with no apostrophe. It's just VELENS podcasts. You can find us on Facebook at Velens Chosen Podcast. Again, no apostrophe, just Velens Chosen Podcast, no spaces. And then you can, if you have any questions or topics you'd like to hear on the show, just email us at velenschosenpodcast@gmail.com. Places you can find me is I have a WeChat that we're using for the group. If you want to create a WeChat group, it's great. It's a new social media website that I found when I went to China, and it's really awesome. It's kind of like MySpace and Voxer and Facebook and Twitter all in one. Yeah, like GroupMe. And then I'm on Instagram at NotRob. I'm on Twitter at NotRob. I'm on Facebook at NotRobMedia. That's my photography business stuff and design. And you can find me on Snapchat at NotRobMay. I think that's it for me. That's it for Eve. And for Andrew, we'll have to catch you next week. But remember, not all who ladder are lost.